Well, hello, my darlings, and welcome back to the Just Jacks podcast. We are just coming on the tail end of finishing the 7-part series of the Adoptonauts and how that 3-letter word can control your life. Speaking of controlling your life, it definitely has controlled mine, and it still does. But I am proud of myself because I'm the type of person that can finish what she starts, and I completed that 7-part series. The 7th episode was the toughest for me. I struggled with that one. Anyway, but I was proud of myself because I did it. I showed up and I completed it. And what I'm actually even more super proud about is that this episode is based on what I have felt during the week. This is a unrehearsed, unscheduled, just a wild ride type of experience based on what week I've had. And this week specifically reminded me that I am a magical person, and I have a mantra that I say continuously is I'm the type of person that everything works out for me. That has been something that I have had happen countless times. And now since I've been beginning these I'm a type of person statements, that one of the ones that I'm using the most right now is also I'm the type of person that sets myself up for success. And I have some humdingers of some stories of how everything works out for me. So currently in my position, I work for some medical clinics and my job starts at 6 a.m. The regular staff that comes into the building usually start between 7:15 and 7:30. So I'm the first one in the building, first car in the parking lot, etc. We have a keyed entry with a specific card. You know how you see in those spy movies that you have to have a card to get into the building? I have one of those because we hold medical information in the building, which is private. So we have the keyed entry, and I have a specific badge, and the badge has a picture of my face. It has my first name so that our last names are protected, and then it has what department I work in, which is fantastic. And I have worked in 3 different departments now, so I've had different badges as we go. Sometimes things can happen in your past that totally set you up for success in your future, and you have no idea why. And I am the queen of that. I can definitely say that there is something that I have within myself that allows me really to do this right place, right time type of thing. And here is the example. I ingratiated myself to the security officer that works at our main building. We have multiple clinics everywhere, but our business office has a main security guard, and she just rocks. I love her. And so 2.5 years ago, I had lost my card and I had asked for a replacement. And jokingly to each other, she said, well, who are you? And I said, what's your name? And I said, what name do you want on there? I said, well, literally, I'm Wonder Woman, because that was one of the things that I like. I won a White Knight award. I am the type of person that I can see solutions and solve problems, and I'm very creative in my problem solving, and I can make quick on the spot connections and just make things happen. I sat there, I said, well, I'm Wonder Woman. So she made me this illegal card that I could never use for work, because we're supposed to be able to, if a patient or a vendor would come there, I'm supposed to be able to be recognized by my badge. So I just thought it was really funny, but she made a Wonder Woman badge, Wonder Woman of Family Medicine, because that's the department I worked at the time, and a picture of Wonder Woman in the picture. And it was just awesome. I laughed. It was funny. It was a gag. And I thought it was really cute. And I just found it because I had gone to a different department, and that was part of my family medicine stuff from that last office. And I put it at my desk and I'd forgotten about it. So on on Thursday, I decided that I was going to have some random experience happen, that there's a clinic that I belong to that I work at that's 25 miles away, or 40 kilometers for my Canadian friends. And wow, I did that right on the right on the fly like that. That's impressive, Jax. Yep. Give Jax a really good pat on the back for that ability to translate like that really quickly. Ha, I still got it. Good for me. Anyway, so 25 miles away, and this woman that I have now started sharing an office with, I absolutely love her. She is just a fantastic human being. And she had to go to that clinic too, because her job also covers that South clinic. So I thought, oh, I'm going to carpool with this woman. And we're going to go and this is going to be great. And so we carpooled together, had lunch together. And then it worked out that my husband was coming through because he drives past that location to come home and that he could just pick me up. And so everything was really great. We had all this great plan until I was getting into the building there and I realized I lost my card. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just go see my girl, whatever, that's just fine. So I go home, check my car, check everywhere, do a small check, realize I can't find my card. And I'm like, okay, well, it just poofed out of nowhere. I have no idea where it went. So I go to see my girl, my security girl, and she goes, well, I would be really great, Jax, but unfortunately, the card printer is broken. I have no other cards to give you. And even if I did, I couldn't print them. And I'm like, but I have to be at my building at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm the one that opens the door. I'm the first one in. That usually even on a Friday, the girl that I normally work with has Fridays off, and I'm going to be there by myself for a good hour. Like, I need my card. She goes, well, you could always go to the security office in the emergency department and get a temp card or something like that. And I'm like, no, I don't. No, I want a card where I can just come and go as I please and do what I want. So I'm at home and I phone her and no, I'm the type of person where everything works out for me because I'm sitting there looking and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And I'm just about to think, okay, I'm going to have the last resort of going to get that temporary pass. And then my mind goes to that Wonder Woman card. And I call her, and guess what? She was going to be leaving work in 4 minutes. So I call her and I'm like, girl, I have this card that you made for me, this Wonder Woman card. She goes, does it have these black numbers on the front? And I said, yeah. She goes, read them to me. She goes, the card is activated. I'm like, no way. No way. I guess I am a Wonder Woman. So I thought I'm just going to go to my location and test my card. And I go there and the card works on the door perfectly. So I was very excited about that. And I get home Thursday. I'm very proud of myself. Like, I am Wonder Woman, Jax. You are the type of person where everything works out for you. So I'm like, okay, I go to bed. Next morning, I'm getting ready. I'm like, okay, I get to go to work. I don't have to worry about the door and everything. And I am looking everywhere for my keys. And I misplaced them. And I'm really very good about my keys. I usually put them in the same spot all the time. There's a big metal ring on as part of the strap assembly, and I click my keys onto my purse because I have a carbinger that you just click on there. And I very rarely misplace my keys now because I've done that many, many times. So because of the look for my card, I had put my keys somewhere and I had no idea where they were. So I'm looking around for them and I have this strange idea to go look in my car. And guess where my keys were? They were on the seat of my car, and my car was unlocked. Now, granted, there is one small caveat about this entire thing. I do drive a standard or manual transmission, and it would take quite a small slice of the demographic to be able to steal my car. But there was house keys, there's everything on there if they wanted to get that. And so this is one of the philosophies that I want to share with you because I had a young girl that I was talking to that I absolutely love dearly. And she was sharing with me about this life choice that she had made because she decided to go and live in another state that she always wanted to live in and then ended up coming back home and going back into the industry that she never wanted to be. And it was a really great industry. It's the one that I worked with and worked with her and got to know her and everything. But she really wanted to do something else. She goes, I just feel weird being here, like I'm going backwards. I wanted out of healthcare, but it's so hard to find a job. And I know that she wanted out. When she went to the other state, she was in with healthcare again. She's really good at it, and you can get into that trap too, especially being a young woman and she hasn't decided really what she wants to do yet, and she got into administrative work. And there are many different variations of administrative work. But healthcare, especially in this small area of the world that we live in, it is one of the predominant employers of this area. And my answer was, girl, believe me, rebuilding and going backwards can sometimes feel the same, but time will tell, for stepping stones are meant to be a short stay. Always, in capital letters, easier to find a job when you already have one. And she goes, you always know just what to say. My answer was, anxiety is my bitch. I am tired of beating myself up over some of the decisions that I've made or things that have happened. And I have decided that exactly a situation like that is that I have rebuilt myself quite a few times. I do understand that, like, I see people that have been in a consistent situation for a while, and they have built quite a life for themselves, and I at times I do envy that because it is something that I would have liked. I can see where my mother now, I can get a brief understanding of how she had wanted something, like she had wanted someone to build a life with for 50 years, and I've been married for almost 40 years, but just to different people. But what I had to build was myself. So the best is yet to come in regards to that. But I want to share with you this unbelievable story about the keys in my car. So, for the record, I can understand how this may trigger some of you because this may seem very irresponsible in the way I'm looking at things or behaving or approaching this, because in some way, shape, or form, there feels that there has to be some sense of urgency or that some negative feeling has to be there to make sure that it's important. But I'm telling you right now that I have more of the best case, worst case scenario philosophy, that somehow, some way it will work out for me in magical ways. I have believed that for a long time. So if you have never believed that and you always believe that something is going to go wrong or I have to do this in order to protect myself, then I can understand why my stories and how I look at things could be very different. But I have two really strong stories to tell you on how everything comes back to me. And it is going to be a testimony to you that if you have a small situation where something works out for you and something that's miraculous, that's where you start building those I'm the type of person where things work out for me. And you start rebuilding so that you can now feel that anxiety is your bitch as well, because this is the mindsets that I work on my anxiety. And I get asked all the time why it seems that I have this mindset about stuff, and it's just because I am tired of putting my body through imaginary things. It's unfortunate that our body has no way of telling the difference between what's real and what's imaginary. So if you are constantly thinking about things that are imaginary that have yet to come true or you think may come true or could come true, then you are putting your body through the stress as if it's already happening, and your body is taking the wear and tear on that. And I really like to preserve my body as much as I possibly can. And so and it must be working for at the moment, and I am very thankful that I'm at this moment, is that I am on zero medications for anything. And there are some things I need to work on, but there's a direct correlation between what's going on in my systems and what I'm putting into my body. So there's going to be a reconciliation about that. But I am very, very clear on I only want to put my body through what's actually happening. So, what actually happened yesterday when my keys were in the car was nothing. I had the best case of the worst case scenario. And I take those and I milk them for what they're worth because I am very thankful that that's all that happened. So I celebrate the win. Do I recognize all that could have happened? Absolutely, but it's a celebration that nothing like that happened. The only thing that happened were that my keys were on the front seat of my car. Now, to make things a little bit more fun, is that I have very bright key chain adornments on my on my keys that make them quite bright to see, and we have a light that comes on automatically in our carport, so they anyone walking into my carport could have actually seen that the keys were on the front seat of my car. So, I guess I've come to this situation because I've had miracles happen with my keys. The first miracle that happened was in my preparation for moving to the United States. In my preparation, I stayed with a girlfriend of mine, and she lived in this gorgeous 6,000 square foot home out in the north part of Calgary. Beautiful, beautiful area, very remote, just outside the city limits. And in order to get to my work in downtown Calgary, it was quite a haul. So, in order to do that, I would take all these back roads down to this train station because I just didn't want to pay for parking. So, I'd find this place to park and then I would go and take the train downtown. And this was in like minus 30 Celsius, which is what, minus 20 something Fahrenheit. It was cold and I'd have to sit there and start my car. And there was times I was worried if my car would start because it was so cold. But in this case, it wasn't cold, but I had been living and driving, and she also worked downtown and had a paid parking spot at the closest train station to her, which was at least maybe seven stops from where I used to park. Well, this one fine day, she wasn't going into work. So she said, "Here, take my pass." And then I would only have to drive like 5 minutes instead of 15 minutes to get on the 20-minute train ride. So instead, it would just take me 30 minutes. I wouldn't save that much time, but I would save all the driving, etc., etc. On this day, I had happened to get into a small accident the week before, and I was renting this new, at the time it was a 2014 Kia Sorento, and I'm sorry to you Kia Sorento fans, but no thank you. That is out for me. It felt really boaty to me and just was not the right car for me. I had parked there at the train station and left my contract on the front seat. And in my head, I heard my husband say, "Don't leave the contract on the front seat." And I looked at it and I went, "You know what? I'm sorry. Something's telling me to leave it on the front seat." So I did, locked the car and proceeded to go into the parking lot and into the train station. On my way into the train station, there was a woman there with a Mini Cooper, the car, and I was very excited because my husband was getting a Mini Cooper down in Washington. Here I was still in Calgary. So I was really interested to see what the car looked like because I'd never even knew the car existed, honestly, before then. I'm not much of a car person in that regard, or never really paid that much attention. I'd seen them, but whatever. But I'd never been around one or in one. And there was this woman that had a Mini Cooper right in front of the train station. And I knocked on her window and she looked at me and I said, "I know this is going to sound really strange, but my husband is in the United States and I'm living here. And he just bought a Mini Cooper and I want to see what the car looks like because he keeps telling me about it and never seen one." He goes, "Would you like to come and sit inside and see what the inside is like?" And well, absolutely. I'd love that. So I go into the car and I sit there. I take a selfie. I think this is great. And I get onto the train. Well, about 20 minutes later, I get downtown and I realize I can't find my car keys anywhere. And I thought, oh, well, maybe they're on the train somewhere. And no. And I thought, well, I'll contact the transit authorities and everything like that and see what I can do. If anyone turns in some keys, I did my responsible thing. And then I contacted my husband. Now, the best way to describe myself to my husband is the bowling pins and I'm the bowling ball. And sometimes it's a miss, sometimes it's just a clipping, but sometimes it's a real strike because I think very differently than he does. And he was like, "Oh my God, the woman's going to steal the car and like you're going to be responsible for the car and what's going to happen with the rental agency and how much is it going to cost me and everything like that." And I'm like, okay, well, at this time of my life, I was felt as close to my magic. I call it magic because it's really, I have no other way, synchronicity, whatever you want to call it, but just this way about me that I can really feel how things work out for me. I just went to him and said, "Listen, I understand that this is going to be new for you, but I just know this is going to work out and it's going to be a fantastic story because I have lots of fantastic stories." And he's like, "Okay, I'm not sure about that." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let me just get to work." And I get to work and my coworkers are like, "What's going on, Jax?" And I say, "Well, this is what's happening with my keys." And they're like, "Oh my God." And they're so used to my antics and these crazy little stories that happen to me that they're like, "Okay, well, we'll just wait to find out when the keys come back." So I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So then I phone Enterprise Rent a Car and I get this man named Jeff, which I found, which is really fascinating because my brother passed away in 1995 and his name was Jeff. And I thought that was really interesting that the gentleman that I have to talk to is his name. And I sat there and went, "Hi, this is Jax." I said, "I just have a story to tell you." And he goes, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "Well, I have a situation where I told him what happened, and I told him that I'm unsure where the keys are, but I know that they'll show up, and I just wanted to let him know that if anything comes to him and something strange, that it is true, that this is happening and it's live. But I will report back when I have more to report." And he just was like, and I said, but trust me, Jeff, everything's going to work out. It always does. And he just, okay, I'll give you some time. I said, okay, sure, do that. So my day goes on, and about 1:30, 2 o'clock that afternoon, I get a phone call. I look down and I see on my call display, it says Enterprise Rent a Car. And I thought, oh, okay, great. And it's someone else. It's not Jeff. I'm like, oh, well, hi. He goes, hi. I said, do you have my keys? He goes, are you telling me this story is true? I'm like, yes, actually, is the woman with the Mini Cooper, did she drop off my keys? I wanted to know if there any way I can contact her or thank her or anything. She goes, no, no, no. She was just really thankful that she found a place to drop off the keys. And she said, because the only reason she found the car was she went through and she knew it was the right car because the contract was on the seat. And that told me where to get in contact to take the keys. Thank you for the contract. And so I'm like, okay, perfect. So I call back Jeff and I'm like, Jeff. He goes, Jax. I said, I have news for you. He goes, what? I said, I have the keys. He goes, you what? I said, yes. The Enterprise at the other location nearest to where the train station was have it. I have to go there after work to pick it up. But yes, I have the keys. He goes, okay. So I got to the I got to the Enterprise and picked up my keys, and the guy just looked at me. He goes, I would have never believed anyone would do that. I said, well, everything works out for me, and there are good people in this world, and you could go, oh, well, you're just lucky. And I'm like, actually, I get to the point where I almost expect it now, but never in the way that I would take it for granted, because that's where it gets sour. Because if I am motivated to do something and to move and to create, I follow those things to protect myself. Like if I'm meant to do things, but I also know that I am also protected. And that is the actual feeling that I lean into. Well, and you would think, well, you just have to get your car stolen and you'll learn your lesson. Well, actually, no. My car was stolen. I had left my purse in my car, and my car was stolen with my purse in it. Yes. Yes, it was. And it was parked. I lived in the roughest neighborhood in town. And yes, you could say that, wow, that was a really ridiculous thing to do, that you left your purse in the car and the car got stolen. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, that is true. I could see that you would see it that way, but I have one hell of a story for you, though. I wake up, I look outside, my car is gone. And I'm like, my God. So I report it stolen, and they ask me, all right, Jax, can you please tell me if there's any identifiable markings on your car? I said, on my car, no. I had a 2005 Volkswagen Jetta TDI wagon that was black. It was basically your normal little Volkswagen. There was nothing special about the car. But on top of the car was a rooftop carrier. And this rooftop carrier was professionally spray painted by a graffiti artist. For when my boys were playing ball hockey, I saw this graffiti artist doing an art piece on one of the walls in the building, and I asked him if he would do an art piece on my rooftop carrier. And I was very much into ladybugs at that time. So the front of the rooftop carrier had a giant sunflower on it, like as if the wind was right at the front of the sunflower, with the yellow petals going around the sides, and there was petals all the way along the sides like flames, and on the back was a giant ladybug, and in the center of the sunflower was my name, Jax, in green letters. I said to the police officer, yes, my car is extremely recognizable because of the rooftop carrier on top of it. And they're like, oh, well, we will report back. I was without a car for 3 weeks. But here goes where the story gets more fun. My purse was also stolen at that time. The next day, I get a phone call from a resident. Now I can't even remember how they found me. Wow, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting old. Anyway, so they were able to locate me because they found some pieces of my ID on the street in this area of town. Now, from where I lived, that area of town was probably about 5 miles away. So we drove there, looked around, and we only found it was like these were the useless pieces of ID that you never use, like your gym membership card or your library card, and they're useful, but they're not the ones you're worried about canceling when someone steals your card. The pieces of ID that were all over the ground, and I picked them up, and I thought, okay, well that is fine. 2 days later, I get another call, and this gentleman, his name is Mike, and he calls me and he says, "I have your wallet here in my construction trailer." And all that was there was a one of those trailers that construction workers just have their table in. There was nothing in there but a table and chairs and coffee maker, and that was it. Like, it was their lunchroom, and it was in the middle of nowhere, which is fascinating because when my car was stolen, that was the middle of nowhere, but that was actually not too far from the future train station years later where I would have the other key incident. So it's like, is there something going on in that area of the world that I needed to be there? Because this guy, Mike, he calls me, he goes, "Is there any specific reason why your wallet is here in my lunch trailer?" And I'm like, "No, actually, other than my car was stolen and that's, my purse was in my car. So I drive all the way out to buttfuck nowhere to go get it, talk with him, and he goes, "I'm really surprised because but all of my pieces of ID were in there. And my driver's license, everything, my debit cards, they were all in there, completely intact. Nothing was missing other than the $10 that I had in my wallet." And I thought, "Oh, okay, whatever. Knock yourself out." I get a third phone call. Where I lived, I was in the southeast. This was in the far northwest of the city, and Calgary is a pretty big city. So I'm in the southeast. This is in the northwest. Then a gas station attendant in the northeast, the farthest northeast that you could get, contacts me and says, "Jax, I have your pink slip, the registration here at the gas station, and if you want, you can come and pick it up." Okay, well, I go and pick it up, and you know what they did? They also had there was a receipt for lunch for $10, the bastards. I'm like, "Are you serious?" Anyway, so I got my registration back, and then I found out from the police that I got my car back, but in the process, they had blown out the turbo in my car. And so through my insurance, even though my car was unlocked and my purse was in there, my insurance agent, because everything works out for me, my insurance agent was able to have my engine done because they took it for a 2,000 kilometer or 1,200 mile joyride. I think they probably went to Vancouver or something like that and back or close to it. But my car came back, and the only thing that was missing out of my car was my purse. I was quite sad because I had just bought a designer purse, and nowhere near the level of designer purses like the Gucci purses or anything like that. But I'd bought what my consideration of a designer purse was, and it was gone. So I had to get a new one. I no longer leave my wallet or my purse in my car, but I feel quite safe in my day-to-day life, and I've had things stolen, I had things taken, um, different things like that, but there has always been the best case, worst case scenario that there is something worse that could have happened. And I understand for some of you, you're thinking, well, maybe if you would have had something of greater, something worse that would have happened, then maybe you would feel differently. And maybe that is true, but maybe also that's where I'm the type of person that everything works out for me. Whenever I see the number 16, that's what happens. I'm the type of person that everything works out for me. I'm the type of person that sets myself up for success. And I say that over and over and over again. And these stories, I hope, will help you, because I have some pretty strong stories that I'm the type of person where everything works out for me. but it started with small little things. And if you're starting right at the base, I want you to go digging for things that work out for you, because your brain may be so trained by your reticular activating system. And if you have never heard of that before, that is a part in your brain that gathers evidence to prove what you already think. It is a confirmation builder of what is already out there. So if you believe the worst in something, it's going to gather information to continuously prove that you are right, so that you can become a master of your own mind and basically fooled by it. For those of you that have never heard of the reticular activating system before, it is a very critical part in how the brain actually functions. And there are four parts to the mind. There is the conscious mind, the one that we identify ourselves as our personality. There's the reticular activating system, that is the bodyguard to the conscious mind, and then there's the subconscious mind, where we have all of our emotions and beliefs, and then there's the unconscious mind that like regulates our blood temperature, how many times we blink, and our circulatory systems and such like that. In case you were wondering, this is more than just a metaphor, because the reticular activating system filters out millions of bits of information that are fed to our brain through our eyes at any given second. And out of that millions of things that happen around you every second, your reticular activating system decides what you notice and what gets through. So we make our decisions on how we think and who we are, and what we decide is true based on what our reticular activating system notices. And what the problem is that, like I was saying before, is that the reticular activating system is based on our beliefs, whether they are true for us now or not. If you tell your bodyguard, which I did, that men are just shit, then what you're going to do is you're going to continuously see situations. You could have a room full of 20 men, and you could have 15 men doing nice things for women, and you'll point out to 5 that are bad, and you'll find the worst one, because that's what you're looking for, because that's what believes are driving this confirmation builder. And so I want to have that confirmation builder of something that I am successful at and that is good in my life and that I want more of. And that's what this I'm the type of person statement has transformed for me. And I'm in the process of creating something that I can help other people learn it. I just had a lady today tell me that she wants to have a workshop that they work with their I'm the type of person statements, and then they do brain gym around it, because she had a miracle happen when she combined the two things together. And this I'm the type of person statement works with any modality, because it's based in something that is already proven true. It is based in something that comes deep intrinsically with yourself that you've already done. So once you've done it, instead of saying, I'm the type of person that fails a test because you've done that one time, or I'm the type of person that people pick on because you had it that way when you were younger, you could do something like, I'm the type of person that gets their heart's desire, because I have a lamp here, a Turkish floor lamp that has 9 mosaic bulbs of glass that just make my heart sing every time I look at it. And I have always wanted one. I have always wanted one. And my husband found one for me and surprised me with it. And that is I'm the type of person who gets their heart's desire. And I sit there and remember how much I love that lamp, because it's fucking true. And I'm just waiting for whatever my heart's desire is going to be. And I just let that go. But these I'm the type of person statements are based on small things that have already happened in your day. If someone randomly opens the door for you, I'm the type of person that has shown respect, because I bet you your reticular activating system is probably triggered to look at where all the places you're not treated with respect, or you feel that you have low value, so people constantly treat you disrespectfully because you have low value. And because you have low value and you believe you have no respect, you have to draw people in your life that constantly show that to you to confirm what you already believe. I had a quote from Einstein that totally blew my mind and changed my life. And that is where the best case, worst case scenario came from, because you flip what has bad has happened and you look for the best of it. And also the I'm the type of person statement is because you cannot solve your problems with the thinking that created it. You must have, like my episode 1, you must have, shameless plug, the uh-huh, the huh. I never thought of that Jax moment. And that is my goal for every episode, that you get a, I never thought of that. Because if you get that, then your life is about to change. Now, this is where your responsibility comes in, because it takes a lot to break through your reticular activating system, because we seem to be very programmed to love the negative. We bond over misery. Very rarely do we bond over joy. It's usually, if you want to share a miserable story, someone's there always to relate to you about it. And you want to find out the difference? If you have something you're celebrating and you're really excited about, you go share it to around 12, just around 12 people in your sphere, and you find out how many people are generally excited the same as you are. But if you go to them and you talk about a shitty relationship or a boss or situation at work, oh, they're right in there like cheerleaders, because negative is easy. Okay. And it seems to be what we're programmed for. So it takes quite a bolt of lightning sometimes to get through all of the programs that you have in your mind and all the things that you have, that you believe about yourself and the world, that are in there. So when you have this moment, that's where the matter of choice comes in for you. You have one of two ways you can do. You can either start that small sliver, because if you see an avalanche or you see anything that happens, I love snow, obviously, because I'm talking about a blizzard. Everything starts with one small crack and then one small snowflake. And depending on what you do at that moment, if you apply more pressure to where the crack is on the avalanche, or more snowflakes, depending how much you do there, depends on what the event will be. It'll either break away like the avalanche, or you'll cover something and start something new with the blizzard. But the choice is yours. But you could also reinforce what's in the reticular activating system. But you go, that's just bullshit, whatever. And you decide to reinforce it. And the more pressure you put towards the reticular activating system, the more your life stays the same. And this may be hard for some of you, but this was the only saving grace I had, is that I need to know what my part of it is to change. Because if I can do my part, and am I perfect at it? Do I go to extreme levels at it? No. But I deal with what's in front of me, and I process it to the best I can to see what's in it, why it's there. Do I do it for everything? No, but I am getting to the point where I'm becoming consciously competent. To me, there's 4 stages to learning. There's the unconsciously incompetent, where, oh my God, I have no idea what you're doing, and you have no idea how you're impacting your life, and you're basically in a complete bubble and zero accountability, no skill. Then you become consciously incompetent. That's right at the beginning, where you see how insurmountable it could feel, that there's so much to change, there's so much to do. You're conscious of your incompetence. Next on the stage, you become consciously competent, as in you keep working at something every day, and then slowly it becomes almost second nature. And when it becomes second nature, you become unconsciously competent at something. But it depends on what you're doing. So if you're consciously always feeding the negative, you're going to become really good at only looking at negative, and it won't matter what anyone shows you, you will only see that, because your reticular activating system is very strongly tied to a belief that you have there. And that belief needs to be addressed before that reticular active system will be changed, because it's a slave to your thoughts. It has no conscience. It makes no decisions for you. It's not your mom or dad where it'll tell you what's right or wrong. It is 100% driven by you. So if you want your life to change, that reticular activated system has to change, and you need to be able to start looking for where you are successful and positive in your life. And that's where I find this I'm type of person statement comes in. So whenever I have something that miraculously happens, like where my past, with my Wonder Woman past, I'm the type of person that sets myself up for success. And I am milking that past every time I use it. I feel it. I'm the type of person that sets myself up for success. And I'm the type of person that everything works out for me because my keys were on my seat, unlocked in my car. And I am saying that this has been a building process for me, but I never had these statements or these understandings of how to overcome these bullshit mantras that are out there. Because I'm telling you, I am a millionaire. Fuck that. No, as I look at my bank statement. That's ridiculous. There's no way that's going to be happening. But I'm the type of person who is comfortable around money. Ooh, I've had moments where I've been comfortable around money. So why not exercise that? That anytime that I get to go buy lunch and I just feel really good spending on lunch, I'm the type of person that feels comfortable around spending. When I pay my bills, I'm the type of person who pays my bills on time. I gave you a lot in this episode, but I also want you to understand where I have had some real life experience in testing what I'm doing. And I really, I really am now just saying when something stressful comes up, I'm the type of person where everything works out for me. And I'm the type of person who sets myself up for success. And I get shown little snippets of this magic power every day. And I am so thankful that it's back. It's been gone for maybe about 10 years, I'd say. And it just came back within the last 2 or 3 years, which I'm very, very thankful. And so I leave you with this and this I'm the type of person statement. Go hunting for it. If you want some help with creating your own I'm the type of person statement, just shoot me a DM on Instagram and Facebook or at justjackspodcast@gmail.com. And we can go through that so you can find out how you can learn how to turn your life around as well. It is back to school season and I am relieved for I finally got to the point where I can speak about my cursive writing curriculum. I understand now what my place is in that world, what my niche is, because there are some very, very strong cursive writing programs, which are handwriting with tears, and there's an Abeka program. And there is no way I could compete with them. But what I can do is what I can do is provide a fun, interactive integration from learning cursive to using cursive on the daily. And with my program, you learn the pangram sentence in the most fun, interactive way. There's a 3,000 word adventure story. Magic of the pangram sentence is that it contains every letter of the alphabet. And it also shows how letters connect together, because I had a homeschool mom come to me when I was doing a tour of conventions for my book, and she brought up the fact that her children had difficulty connecting the letters. So you can give the independent letters when you're showing kids how to do cursive, but the magic of cursive is in the flow. It doesn't work like how printing does. So when you show them the pangram sentence written in cursive, it also shows how each letter connects together. And that pangram sentence is the key, because cursive is like yoga for the brain. It's the best thing to do right before you're starting your lesson, because it turns the brain on and it allows communication between the left and the right hemisphere. And that is exactly what's needed to create a good learning environment. So you take this sentence and you have your child to write it out once, twice, 3 times. Do you know, I just sit here and realize that my kids would have had cursive handwriting if I would have had the pangram sentence at that time, or this program, so that they could just, you write the sentence before you're learning, and that is all your cursive practice, and it would have been fantastic. So my program is available. You can get the books individually if you want on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online, or if you want to get a little bit of a deal for a package set. Now, granted, it'll take a little bit longer to get to you because Amazon punishes self-publishers by making it longer shipping if you drop ship like we do. So that will take you a little bit longer, and they sometimes ship the books individually. It's just, anyway. But you can get it that way. Also, if you want to get the PDF of any of my programs, I made it available at my website of crackthecursivecode.com. My loser, forthwith, and shift merchandise is on there as well. I hope that this episode gave you the moment that you needed, and I just can't wait to hear how the magic starts in you. Jax out.